My name's Laurel, and welcome back to my podcast. Call me a stoic. So, I think it's hard to miss the boxes surrounding me currently. I thought I blocked out my address, but clearly I did not, because it's still on one of these boxes. Anyways, November was Diabetes Awareness Month, and something that I've become very aware of as long as I've had diabetes, which is about 4 years now. That's crazy. Oh, it's gonna be 4 years in 2025. I realized how much waste there was. I decided to collect my waste for a month, okay? This is what I came up with. Wow, I've been waiting since November to do it. It's currently January now, but did I get it? Oh, did I get it all? This is 1 month, okay? And I was doing a little bit of reading and research into this because I didn't want to come on here and be talking to you guys about the trashy part of diabetes. You get what I did there? It's been the title in my brain for a minute since I thought of this. So I looked it up. Like 4-point-something pounds of waste is accumulated by a person per day. And for a diabetic, it's obviously going to be more. I guess I don't use waste like every day, but I mean, I have to change my pods every 3 days. I have a Dexcom in here somewhere. No, I don't have the actual Dexcom because I have the transmitter and that gets changed every 90 days. That's one good thing, but the actual like things, this is what my transmitter goes into for my Dexcoms. I have insulin in here. I have the boxes for it. This is just for putting my Dexcom on. This is what my pods come in. Like 5 pods come in this box, and so I went through like 10. I haven't poured it all out and looked at it like this yet, okay? And it's crazy. This is 1 month. Like this times 12 is 1 year. This times, let me do some quick math real quick. Math is not my strong suit. Oh, I can do that in my head. 12 times 4, that's 48. This times roughly 48 would be how much that I have accumulated over the past 4 years, but that's not even including, these boxes are included in this. This is shipping of my Dexcoms and my Omnipods. This is shipping of my insulin, which is a whole other thing because also it comes with this whole insulator box. So I just thought I would sit down with you guys and I would talk about this because this is crazy to me, and I was thinking to myself, there's no way that there's something that's not being done about this. And so I looked it up, my little college brain. I was like, I need to find some research on this. And so I looked it up and I found this article. It was published by the NIH. It's in the Journal of Diabetes Science and Technology, but the actual article is from the NIH, the National Institute of Health. And the article I found was Diabetes, Technology, and Waste. The first thing that it talked about where I was like, okay, cool, but like where's the effect? In 2021, apparently the medical device regulation went into effect that was supposed to help with manufacturing, packaging, and shipping of medical products. And there was this guy who published something in India that it talked about, and he called it the need for green diabetiology, which is I've never heard of that. I've literally never heard of that. And something that was supposed to come from adding those regulations and things was there was things that were told to doctors that they were supposed to relay to their patients about like recycling and just being conscious of waste. And the thing is that it's tough because, first of all, I'll say, to go with what I was just saying, is I was never informed about recycling or anything I could do with any products that I couldn't or didn't use, which I'll get to later. But I can't do anything about this. Like, as far as I can't not be accumulating this trash because this is all keeping me alive. And so it drives me crazy because I know people that don't recycle. I was raised on recycling. I have always recycled, and so it just is kind of crazy to me that some people don't even recycle. But apparently, okay, they being the manufacturing companies can't even, like, not that they can't, but they won't disclose what is in all of their stuff. Like, is this recyclable? Actually, it is, because it has a little recycle thingy on it. So there's one good thing. Let's see, is this recyclable? This is probably not recyclable because plastics are often mixed with adhesives prior to processing, and these can be paints, but also flame retardants or processing aids. And this is all quotes here, okay? Exactly what is used is often hidden from the public as a trade secret. This makes it extremely difficult or even impossible to separate them by type for recycling. I have no idea what is in this. It would be interesting to like crack it open. I have broken one of my Omnipods. I've broken one of my Omnipods open before because, not on purpose, but if I tear off this back, I don't know if you can see, but it's a whole computer chip. And this is not recyclable. Actually, you know what I was gonna do is I was going to recycle, but I was gonna separate this into trash and not trash. So can add that to the trash, can add that to the trash. I don't know if this is, I mean, it's glass, like I would think so, but it also has a rubber on it. It doesn't have a recycle thing on it. In situations like this, it's like, what do I do? Do I just recycle it and hope it gets taken? In the past, I've just thrown these away. I haven't tried to recycle them. Are insulin recyclable? Insulin vials are generally not recyclable. However, other diabetes supplies such as boxes or insulin pens, blood glucose meters, and test strips can be recycled. How lovely. Okay. Into the trash. There was a lot that this article was talking about, and you know what really frustrates me is a whole part of that was being talked about is that a lot of companies are not willing to move over to a more sustainable option because it's a money investment for them, and potentially it might not work out because other companies are producing things in a cheaper way, which means they're more cost effective for patients. And so it creates a whole dilemma. Like, everything this world runs on freaking money, and it's crazy. Like, all of this should be free to me, because did I wake up one day and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a diabetic? Absolutely not. okay? If I had it my way, I would not be a diabetic, and I'm pretty sure most diabetics would hop on board with me and be like, yeah, I would not be choosing to live this life either. In this article, it said, I want to read it to you guys. This section is patient's views and perception. In order to visualize the amount of waste generated with diabetes therapy, ask your patients to collect all waste related to their treatment, for example, 1 month. After unpacking a CGM system, a patch pump, or an insulin infusion set, the patient has the actual product in their hands. However, the amount of waste generated is impressive. The product may only be 10% of the total weight and volume that was delivered. The remaining 90% consists of cardboard, fiberboard, diverse plastic materials, bubble wrap, paper, and so on. All this goes to waste or hopefully to recycling. And let me put it into perspective, okay? What I'm sent, what I use, what I throw away. And in the end, it all gets thrown away. Another thing it talks about is having to include manuals with everything. This whole manual just for my insulin. Am I gonna read it? No, because I know what I'm doing, but there's rules and regulations that are in place that make it so that you have to include those types of things. It was another thing, it was talking about it, and it's talking about how everybody would have to get on the same page. And a one-fit-all model would be, let's include like a QR code or something. But then there's people who don't have the technology to do that. Not everybody has the technology to do that. There's plenty of people who can't even afford these types of things. And something that's interesting to think about and to put into perspective is that the use of this type of technology, using CGMs and using insulin pumps and things like that, that is all just going to become more and more prevalent because technology is growing. And so the waste that comes with it is going to grow as well. Let me just finish separating this out really quick and then I can move on with, like, I'm going to say these are recyclable. I mean, they're just plastic. They're just plastic. I would hope they're recyclable, but at the same time, I know this isn't recyclable because it has a little rubber on it. But, like, is it recyclable? These are the things that, like, could be clarified to me, you know? Like, I would love to do my part and recycle correctly, but I don't even know. And people can't even let me know because the companies won't disclose what's in all of their products. And it's just like, just let me know. Like, just let me know. But at the same time, the safe bet is if it doesn't have a little recycle thing on it, it's probably not recyclable. I think I'm gonna risk it with the syringes and these little plastic tabs that go on my Omnipods. Like all this little stuff, okay? Last thing, I think. Okay. Trash, recycle. Just for some perspective. We'll add that to the trash. We'll add this to the recycle. We'll add this to the recycle. And actually, I got a little Target bag, okay? romanticize it, so I'm gonna take it out. We'll keep it real here, okay? So this is the trash for 1 month. Now that we got that out of the way. When I first got diagnosed, there was steps that I had to take to basically graduate me to the pump. And I had to first use syringes, and then I had to use these insulin pens, and then I used the pods. But all of the stuff, okay, a few months ago, I would say probably 6 months ago, maybe closer to 9 months ago, I don't know exactly, but I had all of this leftover equipment that I couldn't use that was left over from the syringes and the insulin pens. Oh yeah, this is a whole other packaging thing. This comes back to this whole presentation here. This comes back to the money thing and the looks. Oh, I don't even think I read that paragraph. From a marketing point of view, the use of plastic visibly improves the presentation and appeal of a given diabetes technology product. Like with any product, such aspects are of high relevance for the manufacturer because they have an impact on sales. So here we go, Omnipod. This was my little PR package that I got, but inside of here I just kept, I have all these syringes that I won't even use. I have all these that I won't even use. I have all of my little, oh, this one's open so I can show you. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, we'll call it, boxes of all of these little attachments for the insulin pens. I have insulin pens still in my fridge that I haven't used, and a few months ago, like I was saying, I was like, there's no way that there's not like some way I can donate these to someone who can't afford them. It just feels wrong for me to be holding on to these things, and like luckily enough, I'm in a place, if I really needed these again, my insurance would probably cover a majority of it and I would be okay. But there's some people who don't have medical insurance, or they still can't afford it with medical insurance, because people don't understand that, like, okay, bringing the cost of insulin down, great. What about the cost of all of the medical stuff that comes along with it? Insulin is one thing, but insulin's not something that you can just like take like a tablet. You don't just put a few drops in your water and you're fine. It has to be injected into the skin, which means you're gonna need a syringe, or you're gonna need an insulin pen, or you're gonna need a pump. And that just comes back to the whole hygiene of it. There's so many people who feel like they need to conserve what they have. These are skin tack wipes. Sometimes my Omnipod or my Dexcom would come off. This was more when I first got diagnosed. Now, for some reason, I don't know if my skin just like accepts the adhesive more or what the deal is, but I also just had to stop using these. I had to stop using these. It creates a sticky adhesive like on your skin. It was making me have such like a bad rash, and it didn't hurt, but it was just like kind of itchy, and it just always looked irritated. My skin did not look like it liked it. And so I have this as well that I'm just like, am I gonna be able to give this to somebody? I definitely got off track with what I was talking about asking my doctor. Okay, so I asked my doctor if there was, my endocrinologist. I came to him with a box of stuff. It was probably a box like about this big full of stuff. Okay, I brought it to my appointment and I was like, so I don't know if there's anything you guys can do, but I don't use any of this stuff. It's unopened, untouched. Is there a way that you could give this to someone who like can't afford it or whatever, can't get a hold of it? And they basically told me, I don't think so, but we'll take it and we'll see what we can do. I have no idea what they did with that stuff. And so when I was doing research into this a little bit earlier, I was like, there definitely is places that you can donate your stuff to. I just don't know what those places are. And so I looked it up and there's a place, and I'm gonna go ahead and link them down below because I'm gonna link the article I read, and I'm gonna link this organization because I don't know if any of you guys are diabetics and you feel my pain with all of the waste that's happening, but if you do have any extra diabetes supplies, or if you have extra of anything, I always recommend seeing if you can donate it or give it to someone in need before throwing it away. I feel like throwing something in the trash is great, out of sight, out of mind, but in reality, like, our dumps are just piling up more and more every day, and if there's something that you can do about it, I think that that's great, and you should do something about it. You should try and think about things outside of how they're just affecting you, because it is on a bigger scale, and we're not going to be here as far as in terms of Earth's lifespan. We're a little speck, and as humans are a little speck, and as far as our life is, we're even smaller of a speck, but everything adds up, efforts add up, and that's with anything, like literally anything. But what I was saying is there is a foundation, and it's called the embracefoundation.org. A diabetic founded this organization himself. His name is Brandon Lopez, it looks like. And basically he was at a place in his life where he was 19, didn't have health insurance, was basically going to hospitals and begging them for insulin and supplies and things like that, was having to ration insulin, and it, like, that just should not have to be a thing. And so he created this foundation, and I'll just read you guys his mission. Spread awareness, create community, obtain supplies and get them to diabetics who can't obtain or afford them. 6 type 1 diabetics passed away last year due to not being able to afford proper supplies. 6 doesn't sound like a large number, but when the supplies are available and there are people out there with those same supplies willing to donate them, it is simply 6 deaths too much. We plan to end insulin rationing. We plan to make type 1 diabetics feel confident and comfortable with this chronic illness by being fully knowledgeable on the best ways to manage it. We plan to create a community so strong that every diabetic will know that they have a support system to lean on, ask for advice, and help each other get through the trials that come with type 1 diabetes until a cure is found. And I think that's great. I think that is beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna ship this stuff to them. If there's anything that they can't use, I hope that there's people that they can find that will use them. I think it's a good thing to be aware of the way that you're impacting the world, and this is not a positive impact that I am having. like this isn't something that's gonna go away for me. So I think that while I'm still walking this earth, while I'm still living and breathing, you know, I can at least try and have a more positive impact, less of a negative impact on the world. And I'm just one person, but like I was saying earlier, if more people partake in things like this, a bigger difference will be apparent. A difference, period, will be apparent if more people participate in things like this, just in general. That if whether that's donating your diabetes supplies, whether that's donating clothes, whether that's thrifting, whether that's getting things secondhand, whether that's giving things to a friend or a family member or somebody you know when you're thinking of getting rid of it before throwing it away. Like I want to read a couple more things to you guys before I head out. There's a couple questions that were included as far as like kind of wrapping your mind around this, and or how attainable it is to really have a green diabetiology. Can product safety and performance be ensured without wasting 90% of the shipped product as packaging? That one's hard for me to know. I mean, like, I guess not really. That just kind of comes down to the materials that are being made and hoping that they're biodegradable or recyclable. Can manufacturers choose different materials and pack the products differently? Yes, they can. And they're not. They're not. Because money and aesthetics, and it pisses me off. And the thing is that it's like, okay, wait, I'll get to it. It's one of the questions. Will patients be willing to pick up supplies instead of receiving one box shipments to home address? Okay, I get my stuff shipped to me. So, you know what's kind of funny? Is that if I went and picked up my Omnipods from the warehouse or wherever, they would be given to me in like this same box that it got shipped to me in, because how else are you gonna pass me 9 boxes? Like, this is the boxes, okay? Are they just gonna pass them to me like this? How are they gonna keep them together? There's ways to go about that, but also at the same time, I can recycle that box, so that makes me feel a little bit better. But it's also like, how realistic of a question is that to ask? Because would it make that much of a difference if I went and I picked it up? Because also it would probably inconvenience me, because medical offices, medical facilities, and medical pickup centers probably don't know what the hell is going on, okay? Like, it is the simplest thing to have it shipped to your house, because otherwise you're gonna be waiting around there and it's gonna feel like a DMV just trying to pick up your stuff. So I'm gonna keep with having my stuff shipped to me. Maybe in the future, if they have a better solution, then I can move away from that, but for right now, I think that's the best solution for me. Will insurance systems allow for patients to receive greater quantities at one time to reduce packaging material? Probably not. That is insurance is a whole other thing that I don't understand. I get talked to about a lot of it at work, but that's in a different setting too. That's for physical therapy, not medical devices. And all I know is that insurance is fucked. Like, it's messed up all around. I'm not gonna out my endocrinologist, but he does fudge the times on my numbers a little bit to make it so that I get more supplies within a 90-day supply, just so that I can get as much as I can, because in reality I'm gonna need it. Like that's the thing, is I'm always gonna need it. I was just thinking some slightly morbid thoughts, but like, when I pass away, donate my stuff. Like, give it to someone who needs it, okay? Like in conclusion though, literally first line of this article's summary and outlook: probably the first necessary change for improved waste disposal is to change our own mindset. It's all a mindset. Since I grew up recycling, that's something that I've always thought about, and I've always been like, oh, is this recyclable? Oh, do you have a recycling bin? I can recycle it opposed to throwing it away. I already kind of have that mindset instilled in me, so now my mindset with it is, what more can I do? Because I'm already doing everything I can, but what more can I do? Because I've never heard anybody talk about this, and I think that that's probably just because it's like, oh, well, duh. But why is it so duh? Why is it not that things are not being tackled at a faster rate? Like, I don't know if you believe in climate change, but it's 63 degrees right now in Arizona, and it's 6 p.m. Like, Arizona doesn't snow here, but it gets cold, like, typically. Oh, it's not December, it's January. But like, in December, it was literally getting up to 80s. I don't know. It's just mind blowing. And I have one more thing for you guys, and then I will step off my soapbox and I'll shut up for a second, okay? When the first ready-made insulin pen came onto the market from Novo in the 1990s, a return campaign was launched to avoid waste. The pens were initially allegedly recycled to produce park benches. Today, pens are manufactured and used in much higher quantities. However, the subject of recycling pens and other diabetes technology products is not a hot topic to our knowledge. And it's just like, there's just so much going on in this world, you know? There's always something that deserves our attention, as far as bigger than us, like wars and genocides and all of that jazz, okay? And one thing that we all have in common is that we are all living on this earth, and this should be a commonality. I'm not seeing progression, really, you know? And that's just across the board with recycled things. I spend like $4 more on my deodorant just so that I can throw away the deodorant packaging, knowing that it'll biodegrade over time. And the other thing with biodegradable stuff is, something can say it's biodegradable, but like, that could mean that it takes 10, 20, 50 plus years to break down. Think about your future generations, the future generations. By the time that they're your age now, you know, those things will be broken down, and I think it's just, at that point, you gotta think long-term effect. So guys, this is the trashy part of diabetes, and that honestly kind of made me feel a little shitty. I'm like, damn. It's hard for me to wrap my wrap my head around that for a lot of these things, there's very little that I can do. But like I said, all I can do is really try, put some effort in, and see if I can do more. Oh, I wanted to give you guys a reference. I might be a little late in the video to do this, but brand new box of Omnipods. This is an Omnipod, okay? So this is everything an Omnipod comes with. It comes with the actual pod, the syringe, and the needle. Let's see, how many of these things are recyclable? 2 out of the 5. 2 out of the 5 are recyclable. This is my Dexcom. Okay, for perspective, I replace this every 10 days and I replace my Omnipod every 3. And here, 2 things are recyclable out of 4, which is pretty good. 50% recyclable. As far as just not using the pods and doing the syringes manually or using pens, I would be curious if it generates less or more trash. I want to say that it would generate more though, because I'm using stuff way more often opposed to just having my pump on, putting in my numbers and it doing it. I would have to use a syringe or a needle every time that I would want or need insulin. So again, I am going to link the foundation below, the Embrace foundation, and I'm also going to link the article that I read just in case you're curious. Diabetes, Technology, and Waste, a Complex Story. I hope that you guys kind of heard me out, and even if you're not a diabetic or you're not in the same situation as me as far as this is concerned, try and translate it into other things, be a little more conscious of recycling. All of the things that I kind of have mentioned in this video, I think that you can kind of bring to a different aspect of your life or the world, even if it isn't about diabetes. So I hope that maybe you have shifted your mindset a little bit if it hasn't been on the go green side as much. I think that Mother Nature would really appreciate the thoughts, the consideration. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!